Okay, today is the 8th article of Hundreds to Come, serving others as an international consultant of economic and government choices. Now today's topic is a West Texas, a wild, wild west of a Texas bank shooting itself in the foot. Now when you go to filedevidence.com, in Exhibit 8, filed evidence confirms my undisputed financial statements that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt of my net worth and excessive amount of equity undisputedly doubled every 40 months while banking with my Texas bank. Now, these real estate investments were doubling because of the expansion of Amarillo. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time and keeping everything in order. Also, Exhibit 8 confirms I've never missed a payment, and it confirms that my undisputed, very sound ratio of $1 of excessive equity to a mere 19 cents indebtedness to the bank, which if every bank had sound customers like that, we'd never see another poor day. And also, proven beyond a shadow of doubt in Exhibit 8's affidavit from my banker to prove that my net worth doubled every 40 months. Now, within the courts where I filed retribution is based on the fact of this undisputed doubling of net worth. In other words, retribution is owed for I was doubling every 40 months, and so then it goes on, and depends on when I filed for retribution. Then oddly enough, in September 2014, my bank abruptly just fired my banker, which was very odd. And then on November the 4th of 2014, a meeting was called with my new commercial banker and the bank's executive vice president of special assets, and to inform me that my customary collateral would no longer be counted as collateral. Of course, it's later discovered in the courthouse records, these so-called special assets for my bank had already been filed and recorded as special assets collateralized under the unknown account 1660414. Again, if anybody knows who this is, I would like to know. And in fact, the bank had already filed and recorded their so-called special assets of collateralizing two non-existing ranches with the illegal legal restrictions. And then again, the bank filed and recorded their special assets of a non-existing ranch in the wrong county. Okay, and then at this November the 4th, 2014 meeting, the Executive Vice President of Special Assets, now, I do love this title, abruptly demanded that my yearly renewable revolving notes are due in 25 days and demanded a banking exit strategy. Now, Exhibit 8 proves I'm a very sound banker. But someone is in deep financial trouble, and Exhibit 8's number proved beyond a shadow of doubt it certainly isn't me in trouble. So to appease the Executive Vice President of Special Assets, I knew there was a USDA 1.4 million guaranteed loan to my bank. So if they were concerned about me, they could always, or we could always apply for this 1.4 million guaranteed loan to the bank if they were really worried about it. And this would certainly, satisfy their unethical demand of an exit strategy, because the bank would be covered. Now, my new commercial banker financially and fraudulently misinformed me that I would not qualify for this USDA 1.4 guaranteed loan to the bank. For my financial statement had entirely too much equity. So I went to the USDA, and Exhibit 8 shows that I was approvable, and I did indeed qualify for this USDA 1.4 million guarantee to the bank, in spite of having too much equity on my undisputed financial statements. So the Executive Vice President of Special Assets and I agreed, look, we'll just have a simple April land auction, and I'll just sell 1 or 2 ranches and just get you off my back. And this would serve as the bank's exit strategy. When you go to Exhibit A, the banker's email responded, "Thanks, Jerry," and it confirms the agreement of the bank's exit strategy for the April auction. Exhibit A also confirms that on January 1st, 2015, I signed an April land auction contract as the bank and I had agreed on, as confirmed in the previous email. And then Exhibit A also confirms that I have advertised the April land auction with an ad in the Amarillo, Texas newspaper. Of course, the bank finally figures out and knows full well any land sold in this April land auction would require a title search. Anybody's title search in the county courthouses would reveal the bank's multitude of filed and recorded fraudulent government and or loan documents, slandering the titles as being uninsurable, unmarketable, slandered titles, prohibiting any auction buyer from getting a clear title at the bank's exit strategy auction. And this shoots the bank in its foot, because they had already self-sabotaged their bank's very own exit strategy. Now always remember this: whiskey is for drinking and water is for fighting. At the end of this November 4, 2014 meeting, the Executive Vice President of Special Assets, I do really like that title, had the audacity to ask for permission to talk to my well man, who was in the middle of developing 2 of my Santa Rosa deep water wells. Due to the Ogallala Formation running short on water, you have to have some kind of water for irrigation, and especially for cattle to make a living, and for any development. If you want to develop anything, you've got to have a strong water source, and this would prove to be a good investment. And of course, I granted permission, and I informed my well man, sure, give them all the information you need, I've got nothing to hide. So later, I went by and talked to my well man, and he said, the bank wanted to know how many houses the Santa Rosa wells would support. Now you smell what I'm stepping in, and so do the stockholders of the bank, and so do the stockholders of the bank directors, lawyers, law firm. Because now they're using the bank's director lawyer's power to foreclose to obtain my properties. Now, remember, the director lawyer and his son have an 800-acre outpost ranches housing development that's 2 miles east of the deep Santa Rosa well on my Artho corridor. Now here lies the problem for the bank's director lawyer and his son, because the fact that my Santa Rosa wells on my Artho corridor are 356 feet deeper than the Santa Rosa wells on the bank director and lawyer's son's outpost ranching housing development. And when you're running short on water, he who has the deepest well has the water. Now, it's pretty common knowledge across the world. Two-bit felons are not known to be the sharpest kids on the block. And the bank knows that the executive vice president of special assets, a great exit strategy, just shot the felon Texas Bank in the foot. Because the bank realizes and knows full well the only options to clear up the slandered titles that they themselves slandered with their multitude of filed and recorded fraudulent government and loan documentations forces the Texas bank with 3 options. First, the Texas Bank lawyer director's law firm can post foreclosure notices simultaneously in 5 different counties, and the correct counties, all with the correct legal descriptions, to force government confiscation against my properties, and forcibly provide the bank with clear titles, same titles that they had slandered. The third option was, well, if they forced me into hiring a lawyer and filing for bankruptcy protection against all the bank's fraudulent government and loan documentations, this government confiscation within the federal bankruptcy protection proceedings forces a federal judge to issue clear titles. Once again, the bank gets to clear up their slandered titles that they slandered against me. Now, if the Texas bank examiners discover these fraudulent government documentations that gives the bank the opportunity to cook the books, either way, the forced government confiscation issues and provides clear titles. However, in the bank's felony haste to clear up the titles through forced government confiscation, the bank's director lawyer's law firm hastily and felony failed to mail me a certified letter of notification prior to the posting of these foreclosure notices. And by law, you have to, or what you're supposed to, send a certified letter to inform a banking customer that they're posting notices, foreclosure notices against you. And then the bank's director's lawyer's law firm, in direct defiance of federal law of the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act, foreclosure notices hastily and felony failed to obey the waiting period within the Dodd-Frank Act and failed to do the option of providing other financial options, which again is against the law. Now, during this whole process, the bank never confirmed or even mentioned the word foreclosure prior to the bank director law firm's Pearl Harbor attack against my finances and net worth. The end result is a win-win for the bank's director lawyer. For the bank director's law firm, extorted $47,000 against me during the bankruptcy process. The bank director's lawyer's son price-fixed the bidding on my Star West retail housing development at a federal bankruptcy judges ordered Texas ranch land auction. Now, remember, there's a lot of lawsuits on price fixing and illegal things that are now under new case law, are apparently legal. Now, the bank director's lawyer and his son and the others involved price fixed and racketeered my Star West retail housing development as their own. Now, the problem with the price fixing, they bought my retail housing development $200,000 under Randall County's agriculture ranch land only tax appraisal. So they bought it $200,000 even under the ag value, and $1 million under my undisputed financial statements value, as proven in Exhibit 8 on page 808, and $3 million under my ML listing and pricing as a $1.3 million retail housing development that included the land I was in the process of donating for a new Wildorado school location in the middle of the Star West, which entices people to develop around schools. Now, when you go to filedevidence.com, the letter to the law reporters of these new case law changes confirms that in spite of the file evidence, in direct defiance of current law, all the courts again rule these landmark decisions in favor of the preferred absolute powerful's agenda. Again, constitutionally, we're all created equal. So now anyone can file and record fraudulent government loan documentation in many courthouses as they want to, and ruin and slander anyone's deeds, name, reputation, credit, refinancing, or future earning power against anyone they so choose. Now, anyone is allowed to force government confiscation to clear their own slandered titles, and anyone is now allowed to file and record in any courthouse they want to slander against anyone who they so choose. Now we're back to the self-justification of these new case law changes, quoting them to any judge or jury and with any court of law from this day forth, because we're all constitutionally created equal. Of course, this is the get out of jail free card, or should be for past felons in prison for lifetime offenses. Hard time for district attorney to prosecute present felons of the same stuff. And it justifies any and all future felons' non-sustainable, short-term, ill-gotten gains. Now, on the international consulting of economic and government choices, these new case law changes, of course, it divides and conquers the taxpaying commoners and the stockholders and the international stockholders against, and to never trust these corporations' personnel's unsustainable, short-term, ill-gotten gains. Now, you smell what I'm stepping in here, and so do the stockholders of the bank. They're the ones that are gonna be affected by this also, and they will have losses. And so will the bank director's lawyer's law firm. For the bank director lawyer used his law firm, or his company's law firm, to do these injustices. So this loss of reputation in business is fatal to any stockholder. However, stockholders can still demand sustainable long-term retribution from these corporate personnel's unsustainable short-term ill-gotten gains that in fact decreases the stockholders' value and their past acquired wealth and the stockholders' present stock values and their present earnings, as well as any future stock values and any future earnings, because these the corporate's purse bells, ill-gotten gains will affect the stockholders' value. Now, it's pretty common knowledge that stockholders are very concerned about the return on their investment. However, stockholders are even more concerned about the return of their investment.